Running dog walk part 4. I have struggled with how much material to include in these videos. It's a little bit of a distorted view of how much training I'm doing, but I put in, session 16, session 17. But I also want you to know that within all of these training sessions, I take a lot of breaks with him. We do a lot of toy play, kind of balance breaks of toy versus, or play versus working. And so it's a little bit distorted. I haven't included everything, but basically I was training him on running contact specifically, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And I was training him every single day on other stuff. So just different obedience and agility stuff that I was doing with him every day, at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. So what you're watching here, I'm working on his running straight. So I would alternate between go and run. And he's did really well when there was just food involved, but I started to begin to bring in a toy as not only a reward, but also as a distraction. And it definitely distracted him.
Yes, good boy. Straight. Left. Oops.
Eli is definitely struggling with the toy addition. He's fairly new on really loving tugging, and so this is quite difficult for him to focus with a toy involved. But I am working on directionals going straight and his left and right. And his left and right is regardless of my positioning. So this is on the short Cato board, then I transferred to the larger Cato board. And because Eli is my very first running contacts dog, I really don't have a lot of understanding of how he's striding and how dogs, I want him to naturally stride, but I also want him to hit. So alternating between the larger Cato board and the Cato plank, or the larger Cato plank and the smaller Cato board, and working directionals. What he was starting to do when I slowed it down, I could hear it, but it was really difficult for me to see it, is he would skip with one foot, either his front or his back. He was doing both.
Right. Left. Left. Yes, good boy. Straight. Yes. Go. Go. Run. 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 Yes. Good. Run. Yeah. Run.
Down there, he just skipped. All right, then I began to audit Shape Up Agility's running contact number 1 program. And so went back to 2 target training, which is how they start their running contact training. And now I had done all of this with a cone and a jump stanchion, but not 2 jump stanchions like you see here. So I thought this was an interesting concept of adding 2, and I believe it's to add a little bit of straightness to them, but he does round up, which is quite interesting. So I have done a lot of running contact training and or auditing with various people, but I quite liked what I was seeing with the Shape Up Agility and would continue with that if I was to go back and do it with another dog today. All right, so part of their program is to bring in 2 foam mats to give some definition to what the dog is hitting. And I experimented with the green mat on top. So this is a camping mat, and I hated it. It was slippery. He was slipping on it. I didn't glue it down because I wanted to make sure I got the right material, and this was definitely not the right material. But I did stick with it for, I think, 2 sessions before I found something else.
Yes, good boy.
So I would say that the mat is roughly 1 inch off the jump stanchions there, and he's arcing out pretty wide naturally and needing to come in to actually hit the mat. There he has full ability to go through the jump stanchions in the mat, and that was definitely his choice. That was also how he was trained. So giving him a minute to see if he can figure out, and he never does. So I went ahead and brought it back in and sat down with him. And he definitely started to pick it up there. And I started to pull the jump stanchions away again. If he went in between the jump stanchions, he either got a no reward mark or I said nothing, just withheld reward.
Yes. Yay, good boy.
So I like what he's doing there. It's just the mat is not very stable.
Yeah, super. Yes.
Went ahead and stood up. You can see the mat flies off when his back foot grabs it. All right, so this is more offering of the mat. This is without the jump stanchions. And so he's done this on the Cato board and looking for all 4 feet, marking the last back foot. What I really liked about Shape Up Agility's program is that they brought in distraction training right out of the gate. And I quite like that. He does have experience doing distraction training on other obstacles, but this is also how I taught him to stay. So he's a little bit confused here. He does eventually figure it out. I think I gave him a verbal to hit it or an okay, but right now he believes he's in a stay, or at times he believes he's in a stay, but he does eventually figure it out. Yeah, there he is. Good boy. So more distraction training. Good. And if he continued to struggle with this, with the distraction training on the mat, on the running contact mat, then I would have put it back to jumps or tunnels, something that he's really well versed in. Well, he wasn't well versed in jumps here, but he was well versed in jump stanchions and tunnels. So I probably would have put it on a tunnel. All right, so I got a new mat here, and this is the one that I ended up going with. I do have a video where I showed the comparison of all the different mat material that I tried, and I did like this one, and I ended up going with this one and gluing this one down. Then it took some experimenting with what type of glue to use. All right, having a toy in definitely changes the dynamics for him and how he grabs the mat, and he hesitates because he's waiting for me to throw. So I tried doing a dead toy, and then he struggled with actually getting on the mat. And eventually he figures it out. So it's just a lot of learning going on here with how to deal with the new mat scenario, how to deal with dead toys, transitioning from toys to food. So this is later in the day. I did glue down the mat, and I've also taken one of the mats away. So I thought he was doing a really good job. I didn't think he needed the double mat to add contrast to the ground, and ended up with one foam mat and the yoga mat glued on top of it. Transitioning to a manners minder. So he's been on the manners minder a few times, but he's certainly not well versed in it. Still learning what makes it go off, and adding in the mild distractions again. Watch his back feet. So he's not consistently grabbing his back foot. He's wanting to get off of there and back to the reward without finishing off his back feet. More mild distraction. And adding in, just different angles that he needs to go to the mat. Different locations for me to be. You can see that alien tape didn't work there. It popped up.
Excellent.
All right, so now I'm going to add in a discrimination. So not only some distractions, I've got a toy in my hand. So we've got some toy. We've got him running on from the pause table. So he has to listen to me between the pause table, a sit, a down, and I think I do a nose touch in here and a get it. So And that was the very first time that I sent him around my legs to go get the mat. That definitely confused him.
Is that confusing?
I wish I had done more of that. So I like that, and I wish that I had done more of it. I also wish that I had done more opposing motion on the mat. Maybe I'll go back in and train just a little bit more of that. The hard thing with the opposing motion is the ability to see what he's doing. Here's some directionals, left and rights.
Yeah, good boy. Super. Yeah, good boy.
There's listening skills, so I released him back to the manners minder for listening to me. Again, released him to the manners minder for listening to me. And can he stay with me? Does he go to what I'm telling him to lie down? Very good. And then I think I asked for a nose touch in here somewhere. There it is. And I get it. So just asking him to listen. Just because the props are out doesn't mean that he gets to go do all of them by himself. Want him to listen, want him to wait. Very good.